In this episode, I want to talk about, and I've brought my mug with a heart on, because this is always a mug that I choose when I want to think about kindness and love towards myself, and just generally being nicer, either to myself or to the wider world. But in this episode, I really want to kind of talk about how we can be kinder to ourselves and the difference that makes to generally feeling lighter, feeling less overwhelmed, less critical of ourselves, and more open-minded to taking risks, which is such an exciting part of being in midlife, that you've got so much more experience behind you, that this can be a really great springboard to do more, try more, experience more. And if we talk to ourselves in a nice way and we encourage ourselves and we're forgiving of things that we perhaps could have done differently in hindsight, beautiful thing, but, then actually we can open those doors to doing more and experiencing more. And so the way that we talk to ourselves, the kindness that we show ourselves is really, really important. And you might notice that the words you speak to other people about yourself, like I do this with tech. Tech is, I've made it a thing. I've made it a complete belief. Tech is not my friend. I hate tech. It hates me more. I'm allergic to anything with a plug. I say this on repeat. So it becomes my living truth. Not only does it become my living truth, but other people hear it. And so then they're like, oh my God, you're shit with tech. Like, you can't trust you. And then it becomes into a spiral. And then it's like, I don't know if I am that bad with tech. Like, this has just become a narrative which I've fed to myself, and then I've said externally to sort of let myself off the hook if I mess up with something. Then other people are hearing it and going, oh, Beth can't do anything with anything that involves technology. And so then it can put you off. Like, so doing this podcast, for example, like I bought, I don't know, 3-4 years ago, Black Friday sale, I bought, the Start Your Own Podcast kit. And I was like, I'm going to do that. Bought the little mic, the fluffy thing, the dampener thing that goes on something else, a screen. None of it came out of the box because I had told myself that requires syncing with some sort of technology. And I was like, well, I can't do tech. So this is a narrative that I'm believing, even though I knew that I wanted to do a podcast. So obviously I've come to the professionals who can actually do it for me, and that just makes so much more sense. However, this language that we use is so important. And we can do it about other people as well. So we can say, we start believing what they're saying about themselves. We start speaking about them in that language as well. And so then it spreads like wildfire. And actually something that may have just been a bit of off the cuff, bit of a joke, having a bit of a dig at yourself because you're slightly embarrassed and you're just covering it up, becomes a narrative that people believe. And then we kind of can make our worlds a bit smaller than we need to. So the language that we use is really, really important. And it doesn't have to be massive, massive shifts. The idea isn't to berate yourself, again, for speaking badly about yourself. It's to recognise that by small incremental, I heard myself say that, I'm going to stop myself and not continue berating yourself or making a joke about how shit you are at something when you're possibly not. Is really important. It's really easy to do. And the heightening of awareness, it's a bit of a double-edged sword, heightening your awareness. Like, it's like the tent you can't put back in the bag. Once you've got it out, it's like, there it is. You can't not see it. But when you are self-aware about how you're speaking about yourself, you can just be kind again to yourself and think, oh, hold on a minute. I was just about to say that. Right, that's interesting. What made me want to say that then? What was it that I was trying to play down to sort of be accepted by other people that I was perhaps slightly embarrassed about? And what could I say instead? So you just begin to catch yourself and then listen to what other people say about themselves. So you start being a bit of a detector, listening to other people, how they're talking about themselves, how they're talking about other people, what they're saying on the back of what they've heard somebody say about themselves. Again, with love and kindness, right? It's not about berating yourself for messing up again. Trust me, just my fault. Yeah, just my luck. Knew I'd be bad at this. All of that stuff. It's just really, really unhelpful. So that's why I've chosen the mug of love. And the other thing with the way that we speak to ourselves is, a question that you might like to think about for yourself is like, would I speak to my best friend with the same language that I'm using towards myself? Often we can be really unkind, unforgiving, scathing, judgmental about ourselves in our internal voice, and we'll have many of them. And that can get in our way of kind of going, hold on a minute, am I being really like unnecessarily unkind to myself? And I would never say that to a child, for example, or to your best friend. Would I be my best friend? Ultimately, yes, I would be my best friend. And that's what you're kind of aiming for. It's like, do I want to be with myself all the time? Am I kind to myself? Do I give myself grace where it's deserved? And a lot of that comes with the language that we use. Anything that we're saying externally, we're saying so many more times internally. So our words are really important. That kindness that we can give ourselves, especially when things are difficult or uncertain or, a bit unsettled, is really, really important, because we're the person that we're with all of the time. And that 24/7 way, that language you're hearing so much more strongly and clearly and listening to it more than perhaps you would do if you were, distracted by other things, has a massive impact on how you can navigate it and manage it in a way that feels congruent and sort of trusting of yourself to be able to handle it. So I was, when I was diagnosed with my first brain tumour in July 2019, I started blogging and vlogging, and I haven't looked at these for ages, and I've recorded or read some of them out in a couple of other podcasts that we've recorded. And I thought it would be interesting to go back and just randomly, I was about to say, in my chaotic way of labelling things, there is some truth in that, they just had sort of random titles. So before I came to the studio this morning, I was like, I'm just going to pick a couple up. And one of them says, be kind. Could be about anything. I had a quick skim of it as I was printing it off, and I'm going to read it to you because I think it's really interesting about when you're going through a really uncertain time, like I was then. I was prepping for an operation that I wasn't anticipating having. This is a really serious operation. It's cutting the top of your skull off and like scooping out a massive tumour that's like big, not like microscopic, big. I didn't actually get to keep it. I did want to keep it, weirdly. Side note there. But even in that time when you're really uncertain and you need as much love and kindness from everyone around you, you really need to show that compassion to yourself. And I wanted to know that, is what I thought I blogged and wrote about and vlogged about actually what I thought it was? Was the stuff that I was talking about, was the way that I handled it? Am I looking back at this in rose-tinted glasses that, I just handled it all really well and I navigated it all with this, mindset and tool set that I've gotten and honed over the years from being a confidence coach for 20 years. And actually, well, I'll read it and you can let me know in the comments what you think, because I think it's really interesting. This is the thing about writing stuff down. When you reflect back on it, and especially if you don't read it for a long time, so it's been, 6 years, you start to see what you were thinking and how you were feeling at that time. So specs on. Right. So I think I wrote this on the 30th of August, 2019. And I was going in for the operation on the 3rd of September, 2019. So kindness is king or queen, actually both. That's what I think and truly believe. I actively seek out experiences and opportunities to tell me that to be true. And I never understand the benefits of wanting to feel everything is doom and gloom and people are dangerous and untrustworthy. So if you can't be kind, you can fuck off, which is, of course, a brilliant oxymoron and is therefore exempt of the being kind always rule. Kindness from friends and family so far has been abundant. I'm truly humbled by the love, the food parcels, the gifts, the flowers, the offers of help, and bazillions of cards and well-wishing. Truly thoughtful what everybody has offered. Some of the offers I didn't expect, but filled my cup, including offers of being read to. How nice is that? Somebody actually said, would you like me to come and read to you? To video diaries from a friend going on holiday, and the offer of having champagne in a properly full-on fast sports car. Get in. Sorry, I realise how middle of the road my offers have been for helping friends when they've been in need. I'll be upping my game from here on in. Like I've said before, the uninvited guest, referring to my brain tumour, brings a great many life lessons and friends with benefits, it seems. But kindness from those who you never met and are highly unlikely to ever meet again is something else. Random acts of kindness have been a reliable way to do it in the world without needing to shout about it. The whole idea being that it's not done for the kudos of doing, but it's anonymous. However, whether altruism truly exists is a topic for another time, and does it really matter anyway? Then there are the acts of kindness by and for strangers in the moment, times of instinctive giving. And I've encountered many of them along the way so far. Here are just a few that stick in my mind and I think about often. I've mentioned this in another podcast, but I'll tell you again. So, healthcare assistant D in Wexham Hospital, my first night, I was on my own and pretty overwhelmed by the previous 10 hours. She knocked on my door and in a broad Geordie accent offered me clean towels for a shower. Apparently I'd replied in such an excited way. She said it was as though she was asked to go for a night out dancing. Sorry to any Geordies listening, that was terrible. Dee sat on the bed with me and gave me a great big hug, her large frame and enormous knockers dwarfing mine. She was just what I needed. The towels were a blessing too, and we sat and chatted about life and what seemed like ages. She thoughtfully gave me an extra towel, comb and shower gel sachets and arranged for a cuppa to be sent into my room too. That hug and the time she gave me meant more to me right then than she could ever know. On my second admittance to Wexham for a few nights, I met an 84-year-old woman, M. We shared a room together. With her thinning, wispy white hair and blue eyes, she was a minute package of brilliance and wit. Despite having her neck in a brace, something to do with her bones crumbling in her skull and the risk of paralysis was high, she hobbled over to my bed with her frame and picked up my hand. She told me I was to wake her at any time of the day or night. Oh, choking up. If I wanted a cuddle, or to chew the cud. Oh, bless her. What a dolly. I haven't read this for ages. Can you imagine the headlines? Selfish woman who didn't even have cancer, paralysed old lady in her sleep. Fucking hell. Taxi driver R. Took me to the John Radcliffe for a neuropsychology appointment. I'll tell you about that. It took me well over an hour to get there each way, so there was plenty of time to chat in the car. I thought the appointment itself would only be an hour and I paid him to wait so that he could bring me home. But after 3 hours in the appointment, I thought it was realistic for him to have left. But no, I came outside and he was patiently, kindly waiting for me. Oh, my eyes puffy and red, my body exhausted and overwhelmed. When he dropped me home, this is so... I haven't read this for years. When he dropped me home, he did 2 super kind things. He sent me an Islamic peace prayer to listen to, which would help my healing and calm my apprehensions. He also offered me a Tupperware box of mixed nuts. I remember this. Of mixed nuts. A mix of walnuts and almonds his wife had prepared for him. Brain food, he told me. He looked it up on Dr. Google whilst he was waiting. Oh. So yes, I grabbed a handful. Yesterday I met A&T when I was there for my pre-op assessment at Charing Cross and I decided to go alone. Don't ever do that. If you're ever going to a pre-op, don't go alone. Bad decision. Sometimes it's just easier. Wasn't. After weighing on a stick, an ECG, being weighed, dodging needles, and then having a lengthy chat with the doctor, where I spent at least a third of the time when wondering whether he was older or younger than 25, I came out into the reception. The Lighthouse family were playing softly in the background and there was a room full of people. Please don't ask me if I'm all right. Damn, there it was, the bottom lip. And in a flash, up jumped A. She sandwiched me between her and her husband and held my hand. She then went on to overshare some unsuccessful operations she had had. But I knew she wasn't trying to scare the shit out of me. Those moments of sharing time, the touching of nuts, will long be remembered. And it also reminds me how and why to use plenty of antibacterial gel too. Little did I know COVID was coming after. Oh man, so kindness. That's really nice reading that back. Because it was that moment where things were really uncertain. But yet I was really trusting of myself to be able to handle it. But of course you're overwhelmed, and of course you're frightened, and of course, it's a lot. It's a lot. And I would speak to myself in a kind way, that I trusted myself, that I really did cut out as much white noise as I could, not Dr. Googling, not listening to people who had a friend who blah, 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 but really listening and leaning into myself and trusting myself, and then being open to the fact that there was so much kindness around me, and people then delivering that kindness in abundance. So really check in with yourself, whatever you're going through. And it doesn't have to be that you're going through a bad time. The idea is to build the toolkit, which is what I did inadvertently. Build the toolkit before you need it. There's no point calling a chippy round and then he's got to go and find his tools. He's already got the toolkit. Then you need something, created. So this is what this is all about, is creating the toolkit. So when the shit does hit the fan in whatever form that may or may not be, you're prepared, you're capable, you're able, you can rely on yourself. And one of those things that you can do right now is just listen to the language that you're using to yourself, what you're saying to other people about yourself, and just catching yourself. Think, am I being, as kind as I can to myself? Am I offering kindness to other people? And if not, switch it up, because it makes a big difference. So if you've loved what you've heard, I would really appreciate you subscribing, sharing it with your friends, family, colleagues, waifs and strays. They are all welcome here. You can click the subscribe button, and in the episode description there is going to be a link where you can get in touch with me, and I'm here for it. So get in touch. I would love to hear from you and see how I can help you.